Phil Daly
on BBC Radio Norfolk.
You're listening to Summer Saturday. This is the Sports Hour on BBC Radio Norfolk. Now, Norwich Devils are a team that you probably won't be familiar with. We're fully aware of Norwich City and the Canaries, but what about the Norwich Devils? They play a sport which draws millions of viewers in America, yet the chances are you've never seen a game played. Nick Rockell is the head coach of the only American football side in Norfolk, and I spoke to him before their clash against Ipswich next weekend.
We are the only club in Norfolk. We are kind of ring-fenced in by Ipswich, Cambridge and Peterborough. But we are the only club in Norfolk, and we've got people travelling from all over to come and play. We've got people travelling from further than Norfolk because they started with the club, they like the club and what it stands for, so when they get the chance they'll come back and play for us.
So those are the guys you're probably going to be playing against. Just describe your league structure, if you like. Are they in the middle of three divisions?
Yeah, the league structure only kind of makes sense to those people that are in it. There is a Premier League, which is the 6 best teams, I think it's 5 now, best teams in the country. They are top dogs. And then there is a Division 1, which is where we sit, and that is a national league split into 4 divisions. And then you've got a Division 2, which I think has now got 6 or 8 divisions in it, because there are more clubs coming into the league, but as you always get in situations like this, sometimes that dilutes the quality, so you're getting more teams, but you're not necessarily getting them pulled through at the higher levels. So we're sort of sitting in the middle of that bunch. So
you're kind of like the championship, if you're looking on a
that sort of thing
comparison. Okay, yeah. And how well are they doing? Because you were promoted a year or 2 years ago, I think it was. So the club was doing fairly well, although you would say if you've been going for 25 years, you'd hope to be in the Premiership.
Yeah, you would hope to be. An ironic thing is that the club I coached before coming up to Norwich, the London Blitz, are currently the best team in the country. We managed to turn that round from a team that couldn't win a game to sort of, when I left, we'd won promotion up to the Premiership, and my good friend Mark Moss has taken them on to 3 national bowl games on the trot, and they're looking pretty good again this year. And so the hope was, coming to Norwich, we'd be able to do that again. And 2006 under Chris Cantrill was quite good, because we took a team that had only won 3 games in 3 years and made the playoffs, and managed to pull people back in, get a couple of new faces in that learned quickly to play the game. And that really set a springboard for 2007 when I took over, and we just got the right group of players together at the right time. We were playing in the Division 2, the bottom level, and we went unbeaten over 13 games and won the bowl, so we got promotion, and it was a good year. The issue after that, I mean, even between 2006 and 2007, but more so 07 to 08, was the turnover of players. We kind of turned over about 70% of the players from the 07 squad, and when you lose that many people from when we only had around 30, 35, so you lose 70% of that, you are forced to start moving people around to play positions that may not be their best position, but they're the best you've got. And so it had a real impact on the team, and we only won 1 game out of the 10 last year, but in all but 2 we were competitive. We were within a score or 2, and we had a chance to win those games, but we had a lot of rookies. We did really well with the recruiting. It was just the knowing how to turn the competitiveness into a win. And again, going into this year, when we've played 3 games now and we've taken 3 heavy losses, and I think this year's squad has more talent than last year's, but it is purely that where they haven't grown up with the sport, understanding exactly what they need to do to be competitive. And what's happened is, early on in the games, we've given up 2 or 3 scores and we've put ourselves behind the mark, and the rest of the game has worked out relatively even, and our performance improves up to half time, and then we get tired and the other team figures us out, and and we can't adjust to that as quick as we would do with more veteran players. And so that turnover, and this seems to have been a thing through Norwich's history, where have a real good patch for 1, 2, maybe 3 seasons, but then it's followed by some real bad seasons. There doesn't seem to be any sort of levelling off and middling, and I just think it's down to the turnover of the players. That's definitely what it's been the last couple of years.
So 3 games in, 4th one's on the way next weekend, next Sunday. and it's going to be quite a vicious encounter, I understand, because it's against the old firm Ipswich.
Yep, that's right, local derby.
How do you feel about that? What sort of standard are Ipswich? Have they gone through their purple and golden patches as well? Or
Ipswich tend to be a bit more stable. They've had the same group of players for a lot of years, and they're currently going through transition of coaching staff and an amount of those players. But they seem to attract people that know the game. It's one of those things. I don't know whether it's a location thing or they're teaching something we're not. They won't give me their secrets, I know that much.
No, not surprising, really.
Yeah, but they're. I would say at the minute they're riding higher than us. We're in the same division, so we're around the same ability. And Ipswich has always been a team that's wanted it more than most people. I don't know why, but they seem to carry a chip on their shoulder, and they turn up and they enjoy being physically stronger and physically harder than other teams, and then they'll have a number of players that know how to put the finesse on top, and that seems to work for them. They're not an overly complicated team, but they're just going to knock you over, and they're not going to help you up because they want to win the game. And they're the type of team that we need to learn from and realise that we need an element of that in our play if we're going to improve our results and our success.
So how long do you think? I mean, how many games in the season first?
10 games in the regular season.
So you're almost getting on to halfway. When do you think it's going to click that these players who have come in, they're learning the sport, it's finally going to sink in, right, this is how we play, we can now start to work as a unit and get some results?
Hard to say, always hard to say. Last year we kept pushing for it, we kept waiting for it, and it never really came. And I think towards the end of the season, everybody was getting exasperated that we just couldn't turn the corner. And sometimes it's just an intangible thing. It's about veteran leadership. It's about having players on the field that keep everybody focused, because the coaches have to stop at the sideline, and then it's all down to the players. And if you don't have that intrinsic leadership quality there somewhere, which is another thing we've struggled with the last couple of years, then the players lose focus on the field, and there's only so much you can do shouting at them from the sideline. The coaches have worked really hard this week. This year we've got a bigger coaching staff than I think there's been at Norwich for a lot of years, and it's relatively inexperienced, but they're working really hard and they're learning as they go. I've got 22 years experience. I'm trying to feed into each and every one of them, and we've done a lot of talking this week, a lot of reshaping. We're going to maybe change our approach a little bit to the players and to the sessions and to the games, to try something different, to ignite this little spark and make the players realise that they may be having fun playing on the field, but it is actually more fun if you're not getting beat by so many points. But as to when it will happen, only the players can really tell you that.
Nick Rockell, the head coach of the Norwich Devils American football side. Massive in the United States, but they are the only team in Norfolk.